Hey, Ben.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Where's your red, dude? It's Red Friday.
Oh, God, took it off. I've got an old show sweatshirt on instead.
I see Heidi. Heidi and Ez. Are you? Oh, she stepped off a second.
There's Heidi.
Hi,
Hey!
here we are.
Who's
And
1 year?
Marianne.
Who's 1 year old? And Marianne.
Yeah,
Got her junior advocacy. Okay, very good.
I know. We'll
I
we'll
love
be
you.
here.
I love your hair, by the way. That I love your hair too, Ben. But I'm actually was addressing that at Heidi.
Well, I got it cut, and all the blonde would have so it's just.
I like it.
Thank
I
you.
like it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm texting. That's some nice music we're listening to in the background there.
Okay, people are checking in.
Yeah.
Go ahead and mute down if we're getting a lot of people in.
Hi, Brandon. Am I recording it or are they? I'm out center.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Brandon Harrelson. Everyone give me a wave if you can hear me okay, just so I know I'm not talking to just myself. Okay, great. As I said, my name is Brandon Harrelson. I am the Communications Manager, Engagement and Public Policy with Arts KC, the Regional Arts Council. It is so exciting to see so many of you on the call today. We're so lucky to have so many talented and excited arts advocates willing to step up and help our community, which has been so greatly impacted by the pandemic. And of course, we know that the struggles of the arts community go way beyond that, but the pandemic has certainly added a whole other layer of complication to the situation. So I want to start off by thanking Kaina Iman and the MCA Board of Directors. Just give me 1 second. I want to thank there we go. Kaina Iman and the board of directors from MCA. MCA is the Missouri Citizens for the Arts. They are our statewide partner who puts together this program every year. And we're lucky that this year it's able to go virtual at a time when we're usually checking the weather updates every hour, every minute, making sure that it's going to be okay. And we're just lucky to be able to participate in this new way. They want to thank their sponsors for Advocacy Week, which is next week, as well as their MCA members. If you are not an MCA member, please check out their website, mo4arts.org. You can find the membership information under the Join Us tab. So who is Arts KC? Well, we are the Regional Arts Council, as I said, and our mission is very simple. It's to unleash the power of the arts. And one part of how we do that is through our advocacy work. We always say that we are here to promote, support, and advocate on behalf of the arts of the 5-county region of the KC area. So how we define that is in Kansas, Johnson, and Wyandotte County, and in Missouri, the Clay, Jackson, and Platte County areas. Hang on one second, I think, okay, good. Someone cleared their notes out of the way. Moving on. So we are going to get into our program here, and that starts kind of going back to the basics. So you may remember this from your Schoolhouse Rock episodes when you were a kid, or in your civics classes in school, but this is the basic process of how a bill becomes law. And this is the same whether we're talking about Mo, talking about the US Congress, Kansas, etc. So bill's introduced, goes to committee hearings. If it's passed out of the committee, it goes to floor action for that chamber. Then it goes to committee hearings on the other side. If it's passed, it's sent to floor action there. And then if it's passed there, it goes to the original House and is passed with any amendments made along the way. Then that bill goes to the governor. And then most bills become law of their region by January 1 of the next year, unless explicitly said. So we are going to talk about some of the legislation that's pending this term, and how you may be able to affect some change, affect some outcomes on those very specific bills there. So here's a quick makeup of the Missouri legislature. As of this year, there are 163 House of Representative members, and that includes, for this session, the 115 Republicans, 48 Democrats, and it takes 82 votes to pass a bill in the House. There are 34 Senate members. That's 24 Republicans currently, 10 Democrats, and it takes 18 votes to pass in the Senate. As in 2021, as was 2020 itself, the House and the Senate are majority Republican, and the office of governor and lieutenant governor are both Republican as well. One of the interesting things I think about, I love about this picture and why I use it on this slide, not only because it's, you know, cute and it's vintage and whatever, but the last time I was there, I asked the one of the historians of the Capitol about this little, I don't know what you would call it, but this kind of walkway down to the river, because this, if you've been there, is not there. This is not a thing. There's a little outdoor walkway kind of here that goes back up on this same level, but nothing that really goes down to the river, which is so, I mean, it's so beautiful and it looks so grand. And I asked the historian if they had ever heard of this, if they had ever experienced this, what, you know, if this was anything that they were aware of, and they're not sure where this picture came from. They think it was probably a promotional, it is a postcard originally, and it was probably a promotional postcard that they passed around that never really made it to fruition. This didn't make it into the final plans for the Capitol. So anyway, I just find that stuff kind of interesting. If you haven't had a chance to go to our Capitol in a while, I encourage you to go, not only on behalf of an issue or what you might want to talk to your legislators about, but it's undergone a major, I think, $33 million renovation that's taken over a year. And it is beautiful, and the art and the history of the Capitol is beautiful inside. I think it's one of the most detailed capitals that I've had the pleasure of being in, and it's definitely worth the trip, maybe outside of kind of the most precarious weather months of the year. So first things first, I know we have a lot of organizations on the call today, on the meeting today, and I want to be explicit about this, that lobbying itself is not a bad word. It is your First Amendment right as a citizen. to try to offer your thoughts on legislation. Your legislators want to hear from you. They want to hear from their voters specifically, and you have a right and a duty to stand up for or against the issues that affect you and the arts in your state. And again, that goes outside of just anything related specifically to the arts, as far as a something that might affect the work of art, but also tax policy, workforce policy, things of that nature. Are if it affects the way that you work or live as an artist, you have a right to make your voice heard, and I hope that you can. And also, for a lot of charities that are 501c3s, I think there's a lot of confusion here, and that 501c3s can lobby. I know that it gets passed around that maybe they can't, but I promise you, you can. And this is direct language from the IRS about the situation in general. No organization may qualify for 501c3 status as a status if a substantial part of its activities is attempting to influence legislation, commonly known as lobbying. It says that you may engage in some lobbying, but too much lobbying activity risks lots of exemption status. And I get that language can sound a little threatening, but basically what it's meaning, and most, I have the opportunity to work for a regional association of nonprofits, and this was something that we talked about a lot. And in talking with our national counterpart, the National Association of Nonprofits, there are some who question what substantial means. That's why I've highlighted it here. Some have said that that's more than 50%. Some have said that it's 30% or more. But in general, unless you have a lobbyist on staff and you devote a lot of time to lobbying, you don't have to worry. If you are simply messaging your officials when things come up that you either would like for them to take a look at or reconsider, etc., I'm promising you that you are likely not going to have an issue. So I just want you to be aware of that. So how do I effectively lobby, or what we're calling lobbying here today? Number one, be informed. And this goes with the last point: never make anything up. It's okay to say you don't know, but go in having done some homework, go in knowing what is said. I would also encourage you to go in with maybe some articles or some research that you've done that talks about either the economic impact of this legislation or the cultural impact, the impact on society. They will appreciate your added bonus of what you can offer if you can talk a little bit more than just about what the language says, and that you don't like a piece of the language or something, or that you do like a piece of the language, etc. Be polite. It's hard, I know, when we are dealing with very impassioned people in an impassioned sector, for us to engage with people who maybe don't see eye to eye or who we disagree with on other big issues. But I promise you, I have never met anyone I've never met a legislator or their staff who did not treat me with respect, even when we knew when we sat down immediately that we were going to disagree about whatever it was we were discussing. And that politeness can get you a long way. Reference the legislation by its proper title. This goes for, instead of saying, so the perfect example, instead of saying Obamacare, saying the Affordable Care Act, and its numerical title. So HB 761 is just an example, SB, et cetera, or continuing resolution, et cetera, if you're doing it at the municipal level. Make it personal. Talk about how the issue affects you, how it will affect your organization. If you teach at a dance academy for young children, how will this affect them? How will this affect their education, the dancing or the activity being part of their everyday life, being a part of their continued education, etc. Tie the issue of the arts to things that maybe you can beyond the art, if at all possible. Have a specific ask in mind. whether that is for, you rarely want to say, take a look at this, or let me know what you think about that, blah, blah, blah. You want to say, please sponsor this legislation. Sponsoring is a good way for a senator or a representative to put their name to something without necessarily voting for it, right? So that is a specific ask, or I'm asking you to request $75,000 versus $50,000, et cetera. Follow up and remain in contact. Not just, you know, oh, I sent you a thank you card, or I did this or whatever, which you're fine. But if you see another piece of news, an article, more research that's released that backs up your claim or adds another layer to the conversation that you were having, feel free to send them, you know, I found this link helpful. Please let me know what you think. I think it goes directly to what our conversation was about, blah, 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 blah. And even at the end of the session, if they didn't do what you wanted, they voted no on something, whatever, you can email them and say, you know, I wish you would have done this. Hopefully next year we get a chance to talk more about this, blah, blah, blah. You rarely want to make a day like, you know, a lobby day the only time your legislator hears from you. And I know that we're all busy, but I promise you, if you start thinking of things in those terms, I'm sure many of you, if you have staff or your coworkers or whatever, you're sending articles to each other, you're sending information back and forth. You know, when you do that and you think it has merit for someone else, think about how it might have merit for your legislator or those who represent you. And we're going to talk about how you can quickly and easily find that information later in the presentation. And then finally, like I said, never make anything up. It's easy to say, I don't, you know, oh, I don't know, I can get you more on that, blah, 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 blah. But don't say, well, we think it's this or we think it's that. That's not a typically, that's not an effective way to gain their trust or their respect. So when do I lobby? You can lobby before a committee hearing. So before something goes to committee, or the committee is going to present the legislation and talk about it as a committee, before the committee vote, before the vote on the House, while the legislation is being drafted. This is for especially our state sessions and new Congresses. The December time is the time when a lot of people are filing bills, and that's a good time to talk to your legislators and those who represent you about a bill that was filed, or talk about a bill that is about to be filed, particularly one that you might know is coming from somewhere like, we're going to talk about one of the Casey Film Office's bills that they are putting, that they've got being considered right now, that they pre-filed in December. And you can lobby in response to policy alerts or anything coming to you, like a call to action. And Arts KC produces many of these throughout the year on legislation that we track both at the state, local, and federal level. And that's a great time to take action to make your voice known. We will get to the page where you can sign up to receive these alerts and where you can read past ones as well. When shouldn't I lobby? It's pretty much common sense, but one that I have seen a lot that I think people may think, just because of the nature of politics, it's ever moving, that maybe at a restaurant is okay, or like when you happen to see them out in society might be a good time. That's rarely a good time. You certainly wouldn't want to do it at something like church, and you'd be surprised, but you don't want to do it at your senator's child's little league game. If that happens to be something that you share, where your children play together or something, I still wouldn't recommend talking to them about that there. How do I make contact? You can write a letter, make a phone call, schedule a face-to-face meeting, leave a business card and follow up. More and more legislators are on social media, so use it, particularly with US Congress. They will see it, they will hear it. One of the resources I'm going to show you is how you can, our website, Arts Casey's website, of where you can find all this information to make contact with your state, local, and state and federal leaders. one thing to note that many of the U.S. Congress especially call in, even if they're back in district, even if they're in D.C., they call into their office to check in on Fridays. So don't think that just because you called, got a voicemail, or you wanted to leave a voicemail, that they won't hear it. They do, the ones who, truly care, hear it. And even the ones who you might not think care as much as others, they still hear it as well, I assure you. So now so I told you about how to find this information. Here's how you can find this. So we go to artskc.org. Everyone can see my screen, correct? Give me a nod if you can see my browser, I guess is what I'm saying. Hang on, I gotta change my thing here. Someone unmute themselves and say, yes, we can see your browser, because I can't get back to the screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we go to artskc.org. It's very simple. We go to the Advocacy tab, and you can either click Advocacy or do the drop down. It's whatever you prefer. And that is right here, Contact Government Leaders. Or you come down here, Contacting Government Officials is what it says. And then we scroll down. We have the information for the president, vice president, the White House, their Facebook and Twitter here. And surprisingly enough, so the White House does have its own executive phone numbers, how you will get the president. Contact form is like filling in like an email. Instead of giving you an email address, obviously you click that and they go on and they, and you can put in your information and they can reach out to you that way. There's a Facebook and Twitter for the White House specifically. And one thing that actually is new just in the last year, the president's cabinet has its own website on the White House, which it always has, but the president's cabinet also actually has a Twitter account. So when we were talking about, oh, that's weird. It used to be on there, about issues with the 25th Amendment, et cetera. You used to be able to, Cabinet 45, so maybe we have a new one. So I will update that. But there is a Twitter handle for the president's cabinet. Because we've just put in new leaders, there are some of these that don't show up right now. And I will be adding them in as we get them. So be on the lookout for that. So then at the state level, we've got the websites for all of our state executive leadership, as well as their contact forms, their Facebook accounts, and their Twitter handles. We link to the Twitter handle for the position, not the person. And what I mean by that is I, Brandon Harrelson, could have my, Brandon Harrelson Twitter account, but the president, or Biden, has his own Joseph Biden Twitter account, but he also has the presidential account called POTUS, at POTUS, President of the United States. That's what we link to. We link to the job account, not necessarily their personal account. I think it's just more effective with legislation. So then we have the same information for our US senators for both states, because remember, ArtsKC we work on behalf of 5 counties in both states. We have all of the information for all of our representatives in both states. And then when we get down to the state level, the state senators, the Missouri state senators and representatives, we break it down. They're only those who represent the 5-county region of ArtsKC. So that is, again, Jackson, or Clay, Platte, Jackson on the Mo side, and Wyandotte and Johnson on the Kansas side. So if they represent any piece of those 5 counties, they are included here. And you can see the district map by clicking these links right here. It will take you to an interactive district map where you can type in your address or the address of your organization, or you can just search by scrolling in here on a map, et cetera, and it will tell you who represents that area. And we will actually speak to Senator Greg Razor later in the call. So that is the information on our Contact Congress page. It has their phone number, it has the contact form, Facebook, Twitter. It has basically all of the information you would need to easily reach your officials. One other resource that I have not put on here yet, but I will be adding, is a spreadsheet that takes all of this information that's kind of disjointed here and maybe one off, you can easily email one or whatever, and it puts it all in list columns. So if you want to reach out to all of the U.S. representatives of the state of Missouri, you can go to this form, click on the tab that says U.S. Reps Mo, and you can highlight and copy all of the email addresses and send a quick email to all of them at once. Copy and paste it into your inbox, to your email, I mean. So I think that will be really, really helpful. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to engage in your advocacy as we can. This is one of the best resources I found like this, if I do say so myself, in this kind of work. So continuing on, all communications should be clear, concise, consistent. This goes doubly for public speaking. What I mean by that is, so last year with the Casey Mo budget issue, we had a lot of people who came out to speak on behalf of that. It was great. And you just want to make sure that you go in with a plan, with a mission, that you don't ramble, you know what you want to say, and you say only that. It's the most effective speakers are the ones who get up there, they say 3 things, and they say them impassioned and direct, and then they sit back down. The ones who lose most people are the ones who ramble about this and then try to add this in, and then, oh, I forgot this and I want to add whatever. So just know that these will steer you clear. These will steer you in the right direction. Clear, concise, consistent. Maintain a relationship. Once you've made contact, stay in contact. Like I said, send thank you notes. And really importantly, give credit where credit is due. If someone who you may disagree with politically on other issues, someone who, even though you really, I know sometimes people find it hard to really, try to lift up someone who maybe they don't agree with on everything, but they do sign on to a bill that you appreciate, that you were lobbying for them. Do give them credit and thank them, because it will go a long way. And then I just love this little graphic thank you notes with Jimmy Fallon. Do my efforts make a difference? I hear this all the time of like, do they listen to us? Do they care? Does it move anything? And yes, it does. It absolutely does. They listen. Your one little voice is probably one of many. And I would encourage you to not only participate yourself, but to encourage others and bring others to the table as well. Tell people, I just did this, on social media. I just did this. It took 2 minutes, and you can do it too. And link to our Contact Government Leaders page. I couldn't tell you how many times that happened, and it's so effective. And just a quick anecdote, Josh Hawley, Senator from Mo, he's come under fire lately. I, personally have, my own feelings about him and some of the things that he stands for. And his staff were still one of the staffs I emailed on the day of the Capitol riot to check in and make sure that they were okay, and that everything was, that they were doing well. And the senator added himself as a co-sponsor to the HEROES Act 2.0, which was introduced in October. So you have no idea, the impact that you may make. So we're going to talk a little bit more about advocacy resources before we hear from our legislators who are joining us. I'm going to back out of here. The ArtsKC Advocacy Agenda is another piece that you go to the artskc.org page, click Advocacy, and then click Agenda. It'll pop up a PDF, and this is basically just a brief list of the priorities that ArtsKC has legislatively, both at the state, local, and federal levels. So I encourage you to read this. I will include this in the resources I email you once this is complete. And I encourage you all to take a look at that and use this if you want to maybe prioritize your own advocacy efforts. going back, our alerts and updates, it's another pretty easy pathway. Go to our artskc.org, click over the advocacy tab, and it says policy, alerts, and updates. And this is where you can read all of our past policy alerts and updates. And you can also click this banner here to sign up for those alerts. You put in your email address, name, last name, and you can choose all of the different categories you want to be included in, but there is the policy advocacy emails, policy alerts, and updates. You can also get there from any of our pages by clicking the e-news sign up tab right there as well. It takes you to the same place. Oops, wrong one. Our COVID impact sheets. So we have same way, artskc.org, advocacy, and this is under local, state, and federal data. Click that, and you'll see here research impact reports, COVID impact on nonprofit art and culture. These are sheets that I have made for us, for our service area as ArtsKC, as well as other research entities and other resources that can kind of give you a brief synopsis of how COVID has impacted the arts. So if I click, this one says the 5 counties. This is the KC Metro, and it includes numbers for all 5 counties that ArtsKC serves. We've lost over $18 million in total financial impact to the arts and culture sector. This is just nonprofit arts and culture too, by the way. Over $1 million in total lost attendance, and a loss of almost 800 employees, 200 of which are furloughed, leaving 61 currently vacant positions. 93% say that they have been delivering artistic content in order to raise community spirits and morale during our social distancing and quarantining. So you can find all this information, but just for those different categories, all on the same page for the 5 counties, just for Jackson County, the 3 Mo counties, Missouri, and Kansas as well. This will be included in our conversations with the state officials next week as well. So back to this, adopt a legislator. I'm gonna go fast through this. So if you have questions about this later, just let me know. This is a resource that I will send in your follow-up email. This is through Missouri Citizens for the Arts. And you go down here, you find your area. So we're Kansas City region, and you find either your legislator who represents you or your work, and you sign up to adopt them there. And it'll tell you how many are left in a certain person's status. And this just means that you've kind of taken them on, and you will continue to update them with their with information. You can find MCA's legislative agenda here, as well as the grants from the Missouri Arts Council for each House and Senate district. So I can find all of the people who MAC has granted to in Jerome Barnes or Ashley Bland Manlove, who is my representative, in their district via this Excel spreadsheet. So this is a really great resource for everyone here. And then Ballotpedia and Legiscan. These are 2 just websites that are out there for anyone. And I could type in US Rep Mo 5th district, and it should pop up Emmanuel Cleaver somewhere. Maybe I need to make that bad. Here, we'll just do this. There we go, Emmanuel Cleaver. And this is where you can find information about him. You can also find about his election. It'll have like everyone who ran against him in that election. A lot of good information here in one kind of a one-stop shop, and it does go all the way to state officials as well. And then Legiscan. This is a website where you can find information about bills that are being proposed, both at the federal and state level. Like for instance, one that we're going to talk about is Senate Bill 55, and you can see all of the information about it. And these are pretty up to date. See, it already has something scheduled for February 1st for action that it has, the co-sponsor of the bill, and a little summary. This one modifies provisions related to elementary and secondary education, and it goes a little bit more into detail there as well. So those are some resources from us and from other areas that may be helpful to you. Like I said, bills we're watching is SB 55 and SB 367. SB 55 was the one that makes that modifies provisions related to elementary and secondary education, as well as SB 367. You may have heard about this before. This reestablishes, I really should say, the Show Missouri Film and Digital Media Act, which basically adds a tax incentive to bring media acts to film here in the state. We are losing a lot of we're losing a lot of revenue to other states, like Ozark is all filmed in Georgia, and there are other shows like that that are set here that are filmed elsewhere, or could be filmed here because of just the nature of our landscape, our areas, our urban and suburban areas. And we were supposed to have Steph Scuffham with the KC Film Office to talk about this today, but she's had a family emergency, and so she could not be here. But she did want me to just give you a few brief points about this. This authorizes a tax credit equal to 25% of the qualifying in-state expenses that basically they would get back, and 10% of the qualifying out-of-state expenses, and also can be authorized by the governor an additional 5% awarded to both qualifying in-state and out-of-state expenses if at least 50% of the qualified film project is filmed here in Mo. A further additional 5% may be awarded for both qualifying in-state and out-of-state expenses if the Department of Economic Development determines that the script for such project positively markets a city or region of a state, the entire state, or a tourist attraction located in the state. And so this is a bill that we are really, we pushed last year. We are trying to push again this year. It already has sponsorship and has already been filed in the Senate. And so we will keep you abreast of how this moves. And this will likely be one of the next action alerts you can participate in helping us spread the word and spreading your support for this legislation. Keep going. So now, let me see what time it is. I think we have at least a few of our legislators on the call. Let me go back to my Zoom here. Okay, there's all your faces. I know that we have Representative Patty Lewis with us. We have Representative Emily Weber with us. And that's all I saw come in so far. If you could unmute yourself and turn on your videos, I'll make sure that we spotlight you. Emily, oh, there you are. I'll add a spotlight to you.
Hey, Brandon, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just couldn't get to the chat quickly enough. I just had a text from Doug Ritchie. He said he is hitting a house account firewall and needs the meeting ID and passcode. Okay. I don't know if anybody else is having that problem.
Yeah, here, I've got two I need to let in right now.
Perfect.
So I will get with them. One of them probably needs to change this. Representative Sharp, did you just join the call? I think he did. Representative Sharp, are you on the call?
Yes.
Okay, let me just give me 1 second. I'm gonna spotlight, grab your video. There you are. There's Mark, Representative Sharp, and then I did see another come in. If you're a representative who just got in, please unmute yourself so I can find you.
Hi, I'm Lauren Arthur, State Senator for District 17.
Hi, Lauren. I'm just trying to find your video here.
It's a good thing that you have so many people.
Oh, there you are. Yeah. Okay, so this is who I can find so far. Patty, Representative Lewis, when she hears Senator Razor, So why don't you start, Emily, and just tell us a little bit about yourself while I keep adding people to our call here. Tell us, you're new this year, so we know that this is your first term, and tell us a little bit about the geography of your district and any kind of bills that you filed. I know you filed a couple, and why the arts matters to you. And I will keep doing this.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Emily Weber. I represent District 24, which is the Midtown downtown area of Kansas City. I'm replaced Judy Morgan. Right now, this is my first term. I did file a few bills, like you said. I filed 3 abortion bills to help reproductive health care in the state of Missouri. I also filed an unemployment bill to raise it from 20 weeks to 26 weeks. And then I have a few more bills that are in the process of getting developed right now. I'm actually a graduate from Kansas City Art Institute, so the arts completely matter to me. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and Kansas City was one of the Kansas City with the arts and the atmosphere, the music, the food, the industry, everything is one of the reasons why I fell in love with the city and decided to stay after I graduated from KCI. The arts in Kansas City are very powerful. They're amazing. And right now with COVID and everything else going on, I know it's a struggle. So they completely matter, and we can't let the arts die.
Thank you. Senator Arthur, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so first I want to thank Arts KC for hosting this event and inviting me. To echo what Emily said, we are so lucky and fortunate to live in a community that's diverse and thriving and dynamic, and that's thanks to the arts. And a strong arts community means that more people want to live here and work here. And the more that people want to live and work here, that only leads to a stronger arts community. So without a doubt, when we strengthen the arts, we strengthen Kansas City. But with that being said, we know that the arts have been particularly hard hit this year. And I'll do everything that I can to ensure that we maintain funding to the arts and that we are also supporting artists. Because we know that they've faced unemployment, they've faced challenges with some of the mistakes made by the Department of Labor, who are now demanding that overpayment be sent back. So there are a lot of challenges that we'll need to navigate through the legislative process this year. I think I was so excited that I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I represent like I said, Senate District 17 in Clay County, which is just north of the river and includes everything starting in North Kansas City up to Liberty in the Shoal Creek area. This is my 3rd year in the Senate. I served for 4 years in the House and have really enjoyed our working partnership and relationship. I've focused on education as sort of my primary area of interest, but I also serve as ranking member on the Appropriations Committee. And so as you start to identify your needs and priorities, please feel free to reach out, and I look forward to working with you.
Excellent. And Senator Razor, new Senator Razor.
Hi, thank you for having me. Senator Arthur said that this is her 3rd year. I think this is my 3rd week in the Senate, but glad to be there. I'm Greg Razor, Senator from the 7th District, which is what you see behind me. It's pretty much the city west of Troost, from the river down to Cass County, and then over it takes in Grandview and even a little portion of Lee Summit. Happy to be on today. I've been here with you all for the past 4 years when I was in the House. The arts is at the core of what Kansas City is all about. The arts is what brought me to Kansas City 20 years ago. Whether it is the Kauffman Center or First Fridays, the Jazz District, just so much of what we think of and what we love about Kansas City revolves around the arts. And like so many other industries and institutions, the arts community has taken a big hit during this pandemic. I know I have been on virtual fundraisers to support different organizations trying to help people stay afloat during these times. One thing I do want to point out, Senator Arthur mentioned, folks have lost their jobs. Even if they haven't lost their jobs completely, maybe, they're not getting the hours they used to, they're not getting the paychecks. I've introduced legislation in the Senate this week that would say any stimulus package that Congress passes for COVID relief to citizens for the rest of this calendar year will not be taxed by the state of Missouri. That money is intended to help individuals and individual families, and we shouldn't be taking a portion of that for the state.
One
So
thing, all of you, will you send me in an email the bills that you've introduced? Like Senator Razor, I would love to know what the idea of that is, so that we can get that out to people as well.
Yes, Senate Bill 428. I will send it to you. So, I'm working on a whole host of things. A bill to get emergency HIV drugs into the hands of people who need it, mental health parity, ending discrimination against LGBT individuals. I serve on the education committee with Senator Arthur. We're staying busy trying to do the work of the people. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And Representative Sharp? There you go.
Okay. Hello, thank you, Brandon, and hello, KC Arts community. Thank you for having me on. I know it was last minute, so very happy to be on the call. For me, I think Senator Razor said it all. I mean, the arts is the heart and the new identity, I believe, of Kansas City. And I think a lot of people are proud of that. And I'm very, very happy to be here in Kansas City and out here in South Kansas City and filing bills that are going to help the arts community. Just a minute ago, we talked about the Jazz District, and right now I've offered or sponsored a bill that's going to help give back money to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum with the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum specialty license plate, recognizing the 100-year anniversary of the Negro Leagues when it was founded in February of 1920, just over 100 years ago. And this should have passed last year, but we had COVID and the bill had to stop. But I believe Senator Barbara Washington has filed the same legislation on the Senate side. So I believe this will get passed, and hopefully we can recognize those fine men and women who played in the Negro Leagues all those years. So for me personally, as a kid, I always drew, and I was big into arts and big into being in art class and always drawing and always being into poetry in high school and college. So the arts community and all these things mean so much to me, and whatever I can do to be helpful to the arts community, I certainly will. So thank you for having me.
Excellent. And new Representative Lewis?
Thank you, and thanks for having me. My name is Representative Patty Lewis, and I represent the 25th District, following Greg Razor's footsteps. So the northern boundary is 47th Street. It extends to south to 435, state line on the west to Oak/Fulham on the east. So it's Plaza, Brookside, Waldo, part of South Kansas. I echo what everybody else said.
Representative Lewis, you might want to speak a little louder. I think we're having a little hard time hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
That's better for me, but I think a little bit more, maybe.
Oh. I'm having IT difficulties today. It's one of those things. I'll try and speak up. So I was just going to say, I echo what everybody else said about the arts in the city. Just another different perspective of why arts are important to me. I'm a nurse by background, and I understand the value that arts have in healing, with art therapy. So, I definitely respect and I am your ally when it comes to arts. One of the bills, I filed one bill this week. It's House Bill 889. It is a companion bill to what Senator Razor filed with mental health, and it's basically we need to treat mental health just like physical health. I'm working on some other bills around gun violence prevention and voter rights. Many folks have contacted me that they liked the mail-in ballot, although it was confusing for the primary and presidential, but basically trying to make voting more accessible rather than more difficult in all times, not just during a global pandemic. So those are some of the things I'm working on, and I love to hear from all my constituents on what you want me to focus on as well.
Excellent. And Mr. Ritchie?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to interact today. Looking forward to this. So my name is Doug Ritchie, representative in the Northland, Eastern Clay County. I'm on my second term and enjoying the work. I think you were asking about committee work. I'm currently the vice chair of the Joint Education Committee, vice chair of Rules, vice chair of Fiscal Review, and am sitting on the Budget Committee as well, and which is a particular joy of mine. I enjoy the budget and the work on the budget, even though it involves long meetings. So when it comes to the arts, I've heard a number of comments. I kind of thought that Kansas City was known, at its heart for barbecue, but I guess barbecue is a little bit of an art, right? So nonetheless, I absolutely, celebrate what has been mentioned regarding the arts and the importance of it. We were actually just on an earlier Zoom meeting with UMKC. And one of the things that I believe that is being overlooked all too often today in the education space, especially when you're looking at K through 12 and then higher ed, is the value of a well-rounded education, which absolutely must include the arts. The one teacher that I have maintained contact with throughout my life after high school, and I'm now about to have my 30th class reunion, was my art teacher. And actually, I was just speaking with him just a few days ago. Absolutely believe that is something that's important for people to not only be exposed to, but be given opportunities to interact with and engage. Everything from poetry to, the writing, the good quality writing of fiction and even nonfiction to other mediums of art. I think that we are better for it when our communities have something of beauty to capture our imagination. So thank you for your work, and I look forward to doing what we can to help the arts community.
Thank you so much, Representative Ritchie. Lastly, we have new Senator Barbara Washington. She's not on video, but I'm going to pin her here. And Senator Washington, if you want to unmute yourself, just tell us a little bit about, this is your first term as a state senator, and about kind of where your district is, what committees you're on, any legislation that you have either filed this year that you're really hoping you want to share a little bit about, and then why the arts are important, why the arts matter to you.
Oh, hi everybody. Sorry I can't get on video, but let's see. I think you're in my district.
I am, yes.
I think you were in my House district as well.
I am, yeah.
I'm Barbara Ann Washington. I represent District 9 of the Senate, which is basically a little bit north of Independence Avenue, south to where 435 and 470 kind of meet. Troost Avenue, and down there where you are, a little bit west of Troost Avenue, all the way to the Kansas City Raytown border, south half of Raytown, a little snippet of Lee Summit, and a snippet of Independence. Legislation that is I have this year is similar to what I filed in the House, working on juvenile justice reform and raising the age for our juveniles to be charged, as also, which was supposed to go in effect this year, but also raising the age by which they can even be tried, where you can even file a petition. So from 12 to 14, legislation working on where to house those juveniles that are currently in state custody as we go in limbo. There are some places saying that they're not going to honor the new law, so we want to move them out of the adult prisons. My passion project is tax increment financing, working on that because that does affect our property taxes and especially our arts in the school district.
What a passion. What a passion to have.
Yeah, so my
Tax.
I guess interest or desire for art is I grew up in a church family where we all had to take piano and violin. I think I was the fourth generation to play my great grandfather's violin, and my daughter also played that same violin. So always been into music, and I have a real passion for theater. So I'm happy to be a graduate of UMKC's law school, but also someone who's been going to the conservatory since before I can remember. And so, as Representative Ritchie did not know, Kansas City is known for its theater. We are probably in the top 5 in the nation. We have one of the top conservatories in the United States of America, with our conservatory that has theater and music. And I've been a member. I've always had my season tickets. I take my membership to Stage Magazine, and am very involved in the theater. So that's me. And thank you for having us today.
Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to all of you representatives and senators for joining us today. We hope that you'll join us next week at one of, if you've got my emails about the sessions we're having next week, we hope you'll be able to join us for one of those. And we appreciate you taking the time today as well. So, and we also want to point out that there are some other elected officials on the call, like Mayor Eileen Weir of Independence. And I'm just kind of doing a really quick pass. So if there's someone I forgot and you want to put what you represent in the chat, just to let everyone know that you're here, please do so, because we don't want to exclude you as well. And then just finishing out our time today, thank you to all of you. Don't forget to sign up for our Arts KC advocacy emails. You'll remember you can do that from the homepage. Just click e-new sign up on any of the pages, or go to advocacy tab and click policy alerts and updates. Register for lobby day next week. You'll receive a follow-up email. We are going to have 3 different sessions that day at 10 a.m., 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. And that is for your convenience and for the convenience of our officials. We're going to have some people giving testimonials on the call about how COVID's impacted them, how their work is going. And we hope you'll be able to join us to ask questions and to contribute as well. It's just one hour, and we hope that there is a broad a range of support in all 3 calls. So please try to join us if you can, and then follow us on social. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, all at ArtsKC. We're also on YouTube. So join us there. And the final thing is just thank you. When you get your follow-up email from me with the resources we've talked about today, some other information, please feel free to send me any questions you might have. If you want to send me any questions you might have for the elected officials who were on today, I can help connect you and kind of start that conversation as well. Anything else, please feel free to email me at bharrelson@artskc.org. I thank you so much. I thank you to the officials, to you all, our arts advocates, and our beautiful arts community representatives. Arts KC couldn't do this without you, and we're happy to do the work that we do every day on behalf of our beautiful arts community. So with that, I will leave you, and I hope that you have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.